Hello again, and welcome back to, well, it'll probably be the last stream of Sonic Free Out. You can just call me Stent. Decided to go, after much deliberation with the poll, to scrap going through, the stream of Mega Collection, at least for now, in favor of just, one more playthrough of everybody's favorite fluffy boy, apparently. Still have no idea what we'd refer to this sort of character in context. I'm fairly certain I put out a post asking about it. In any case, suppose I may as well talk with my history a little bit about, I suppose what could be considered the predecessor to this game, Sonic 3 Complete. I'll say my history, it's more so a little tidbit which I missed from Sonic 3 Complete. The fact that, in this, Tails doesn't get his own intro like Sonic does, where he actually just flies over to the island and gets assailed by Knuckles the same way as Sonic does. In this, just like in the base game, he just appears on Angel Island like the start of any other level. How did I mess that up? I mean, suppose at the very least there's ample time for me to actually get that first emerald. It's just, that's the first one. That's the one that I shouldn't have been able to just botch like that. I feel as though my skill with this game is slipping somewhat. I decided to start off immediately because I figured that we may as well at least try to go through a whole playthrough this time rather than just cutting it off abruptly like we did last time. And who knows, if we managed to excuse me, if we managed to get through all of this in quick succession, may go for a little bit of extra bonus stuff, but for now, somehow none of Tails' fluff caught on fire during that whole thing. It's something that I never really noticed as a kid, the fact how weirdly fireproof, waterproof, everything-proof all the Sonic characters can be. I mean, they can breathe in space, they can survive an entire island getting set on fire, they can survive being bombed. I'm sure you could say for some of those, they have rings to protect them from that, but sure, the fire would have done something. I get it would have been annoying to lose all your rings during that inferno, but it would have at least made a bit of sense. Still feels like I need to concentrate for all of these, so bear with me. I was thinking, admittedly, of just skipping out on this and going straight for Klonoa, but I figured, since I've been sort of reminiscing on a lot of my history of the Sonic series, there we go. Reminiscing about a lot of my history. I really want to say for the longest time that I haven't called Miles in this particular version of the game as per the Japanese version, which sort of a weird choice to go with, I will admit, but regardless. For the longest time, I will admit I'd sort of been going back and forth a lot, especially nowadays, about which is actually my favorite Sonic character, because there's a lot which I like and others which have fallen out of favor with me due to more modern creative choices with most of the characters. Like, I used to like Knuckles a fair bit until he just became the group Meathead. I know that's more sort of a Boom thing, but I feel as though a lot of that bled into the main series, which I suppose is another aspect which sort of brings to mind what I was saying in a previous stream about in a previous stream with regards to certain elements of this series probably being best left as non-canon, or having less an emphasis on making everything fit into one perfect storyline, which obviously it doesn't. But with not... The thing is, with non-canonical additions to the series, ideas from that, as we've seen with things like Dark Sonic and Sonic Boom, do have a tendency to bleed into the main series, which, for better or worse, is, I'd at the very least say is a point in favor of certain things being non-canonical, as it allows for new ideas to be explored, which could, in fact, enrich a lot of the pre-existing story and characters and elements and etc. You'll have to forgive me if I'm not exactly on top of my A game here. Admittedly, didn't get the best sleep last night, so performance may end up being affected. As well as commentary. We just tried... Right, hopefully you get help with that, Tony. That sounds rather serious. I'd rather not delve too deeply into that. It sounds fairly personal. I'm just saying as well that obviously I think one of the main reasons I was bereft of sleep from last night is that I was busy toying around with this new Sonic Roboblast mod, which everyone seems to be hyped up about, X-Sonic, which I feel is a fairly good example of non-canonical elements of this series bleeding into the main series, because of course that's where Shadow's inhibitor rings came from, which are now just assumed to just be a big part of his kit, and not just he had those slap bracelets in Adventure 2. Now he just has the inhibitor rings. Starting from 06, and now they're just built up as just being a part of his moveset with that one Shadow 101 video they put out on the official channel. And of course, the other one, considering it was X-Sonic, the X-Sonic mod, Dark Sonic. I've had various back and forth thoughts with regards to Dark Sonic. In that at the time I thought it was the coolest sort of edgy thing ever to come out of this series, and was hoping that it would be introduced into the franchise proper one day, but I suppose being bombarded and burnt so many times with so many disappointments, I just figured I'd grown out of it, but it seems as though most people haven't, and even today, Dark Sonic is just considered this thing that people want to see from the series, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. This one idea, this one concept of a idea for Sonic managed to endure for so long despite only being around for like 30 seconds. I know that's something a lot of people would probably underplay, just being like, it's nothing special, it just appeared for 30 seconds in an anime episode and was never mentioned again, but the sheer monumental effect Dark Sonic has had to endure this long, it's kind of impressive to the point where I feel as though for enduring this long it kind of has to appear in the series at some point, but many would argue, of course, it already did with Secret Rings as Darkspine Sonic, and part of me kind of feels that any potential introduction of Dark Sonic has kind of been ruined somewhat by Unleashed. With the whole Hedgehog thing being, I suppose, aside from Darkspine, the closest thing we've gone to a sort of corrupted Dark Sonic. Except there, the game was like, oh, Sonic's too bad enough a dude. He's too strong to lose himself and be evil. Which I suppose is respectable in a way, but at the same time, knowing that he was able to shrug off Dark Gaia's influence, I'm not sure how you justify Dark Sonic in that respect. To the point where I kind of feel as though if you were going to bring in the Dark Transformation, another character would have probably been the best way to approach it. Way too much free time? I'd still say I'm impressed by quite a lot of their creative ventures throughout the years. To the point where I'd still be content with actually seeing Dark Sonic appear in an official capacity, even though it may not make the most sense. Because again, how would you justify a Dark Sonic appearance given what we know from Unleashed? I know a lot of people like to rag on about certain aspects of certain creative aspects of this series with, as you mentioned, babysitting Cream. If I was curious, I wouldn't recommend looking it up at all. But I'd still say there's just a significant amount of still good stuff which has been produced fan-wise for this series. I'm also thinking in terms of stuff like Naruto Unleashed. I know that was like ages and ages ago. That's just sort of the back in the day, that was the coolest thing that happened with this series, and it wasn't even in an official capacity. I know a lot of people like to say that the fans should have proper reign of the series for a bit. I'm still not 100% certain of that myself personally, but at the very least, I'm sure some fans out there would have more of a proper direction for this series. Which is what I'd want at the end of the day, just clear-cut direction for what this series can achieve and what can do, and scared me for a second there. No idea how I managed that. Aww. That's how we get Forces Frontiers types running. I'm pretty sure the writers of Forces weren't exactly Sonic fans. More so people that were just contracted to do story for kids game. At least that's how their Pontic and Grass writing usually comes off. Just less so a passion project about wanting to expand the series and more just a job. Which, on one hand, I kind of respect in that regard, but at the same time, you're not going to get anything good out of that. And as for Ian, I don't know what's up with Ian. It's like pre-Archie reboot, he I've at the very least heard that he's had some really great stories about taking all these pre-existing elements of the Archie continuity and bringing them together to form this narrative where all the painful stuff that you had to sit through actually makes sense now, but it feels like ever since he actually managed to achieve rebooting the series and had a fresh slate to start off with, it's like he really hasn't had that much of an idea as to what direction he would personally want to take it outside of just making it more like the games. Okay, but the games don't really have much of a direction either, so it's kind of moot. Alright, I think I'm just gonna do the middle right now, just to get that out of the way. I think that may be the trick, actually, just to do the tricky jumping part early, and then just mop up the rest when it's a fair bit easier to do. There we go. And back to where we were. Please don't make me bump into the bumpers, please. There we go. Yeah, I'm not doing so well on the Chaos Emerald front, unfortunately, so looks like we're just gonna have to keep going to Marble Garden. I always found it weird that this next boss ended up just becoming the main boss for the Mania version. And how basically just the bosses sort of swapped in a way. It's like, even in Mania, despite the additional bit, I didn't find this particular boss to be all that hard. Then again, not many of the bosses in Mania were all that difficult, so what can you say? I always liked this particular music track. Like this and the Mania version, just Hedgehog's music in general, just some of the most funky of the classic era at the very least. It may have been a little bit since I've listened to any of the 3D Blast stuff. And I feel comparing it to, at the very least, the Japanese version of the CD soundtrack is kind of cheating, considering the technological differences. That being said, the Mania version I always quite liked. Oh, hello. We're just slowly making our way through Hedgehog. I'm gonna see if I can go through some of the, I suppose, Tails' unique achievements here, but given how my performance has been so far, don't count on it. How are welcome. Indeed. It also blew me away in hindsight that they actually just included the reference to a donkey video in this level in the Mania version. Just, I'm not sure if it's a Mania Plus, but at least in the original version they kept it in as just... Wow. They really went that far, just... It just makes me feel as though I really need to play through Mania again at some point right now. Just thinking back to that, I can see why some people consider it the best Sonic game of all time. Wrong area. I will admit I did go back through this after the last time I played through this as Knuckles, just to see if I could obviously get a good save file with Knuckles only, and also just to see if I could get some more of the achievements and hopefully get the 1,000,000 points one as well, which it really does feel as though in order to get the 1,000,000 points achievement, you just have to perfect all the special stages, which with enough practice isn't so difficult, just... You really have to be on your A game for them. Well, it's about the sort of mini sprites that all the characters get when they get continued, just also quite adorable. I suppose, thinking back to it, one of the other reasons why I always preferred Sonic 3 over the other classic games, especially Sonic 2, is because my first introduction to 2D Sonic was Sonic Advance on the Game Boy Advance. Obvious with the names, but... There, a lot of the movesets had already been... a lot of the movesets had already been sort of perfected in this game, where Tails has his flight, Knuckles has his glide, Sonic has the double spin attack, and trying to play as Tails in Sonic 2 without the flight just felt so weird to me. Where'd you go wrong in life? In my experience, we all tend to think like that sometimes. Best thing you can really do, I'd say, is just try to find something you enjoy. Hopefully make your way through it. And I think you can only get through there as Tails. May not be certain. There may be a spring down there, but Tails is of course the one who can reach this particular ring easily. In any case, Termy, I'm glad you showed up. It's always interesting getting a lot more insight into various aspects of this series which I may have not been previously aware of. It's certainly been a ride. Hopefully you stick around. It's probably a mistake. Oh no. Yeah, I kind of messed up there. Oh! Getting a little bit scary here. Okay, I think we should be good. Because I will admit I've had a fair few times in my on sort of those dark, lonely nights where my head's in a dark place, where I keep thinking that I haven't really done much with my life either, but continuing to think about it and not do anything doesn't solve anything. The way I see it, you have to put yourself in the headspace to actually do something about it, or try not to worry about it so much. I wonder how many times we'll end up in this minigame again throughout this whole stream. I feel as though, considering we've seen this already one too many times, I may try to skip some of these, but you know, since with the last few streams I've already seen these more than enough, but I'm sure the time will come where I need more rings, but given this is Tails, who is effectively easy mode, I think we should be fine. Happy to provide advice where I can. I may not feel the most qualified at times, but I'll still try to speak my mind on what I think is right when I can. That being said, I'd rather not get too divisive on here. We're here to have fun after all. At least in theory. I never knew for the longest time you could actually bounce on these. Just figured you just had to wait for him to come down from on high with his little propeller and hit him while he had the chance. Also found it funny and I really need to stop comparing this to the Mania version. I need to say that for if I actually play Mania. Also, yeah, Tails can just damage things with his helicopter tails, which needs a little emotional reminder to keep going. Sometimes that's the best we can do. There's no real shame in that. Now, I'm gonna see if I can get the Attracted to Giant Shiny Things achievement in this area. I've already gotten it once, so it is in fact possible. Just need to find 6 giant rings in this level, and Tails, alongside Hypersonic, are the easiest way to get it. First one should be over here. It's weird. When I'm not playing this game, I keep thinking that Marble Garden is one of the more underappreciated Sonic levels, but then I actually play it and it's like, yeah, there's a reason why it's underappreciated. Just, those spike enemies in particular, the fake spikes. Never really liked those. Always get a little bit nervous on, tightly packed, special stages like this, because I know it could only just be one false move, as you've seen, and it's all over. I'll admit I've been thinking / wondering which Sonic game I'd want to stream next once I was done with Klonoa. I mean, there's probably another game I'd want to stream before then, just so I could say I streamed it in the year it came out. At least on the 20th anniversary I made of the year it came out, but Aside from that, it should be smooth sailing from that in terms of Sonic stuff, so... I can't help but wonder which one I'm going to do. Oh. Very nearly thought I was going to go into the bumpers there. Now, where is this last one? There you are. Sonic Rivals, huh? I will admit I never got a chance to play Sonic Rivals, mostly because I never knew anyone who had a PlayStation Portable for me to try them out, as, of course, like everybody else, I was a Nintendo DS boy. I had a lot of good memories with the Sonic Rush games. I know that at least. Should be interesting actually trying to find a means of playing them on stream, because I don't think I have a DS capture card. Almost nobody does. Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of a shame, really. I've heard interesting things about them, to say the least. With where the canon truly does get just unglued. We got potentially 2 Silvers running around, 2 Blazes running around, 2 versions of Eggman Nega. It's just... yeah, I call him... I pronounce it N-E-Y-G-A. You know, like Sega. That's how I always pronounce it as a kid. Well, I'm sure Clement has one. I mean, he's one of those people who made it a life's mission to play every single Sonic game imaginable, from what I recall. Probably has his own version of Sonic Waku Waku Patrol Car. I know I'm probably being hyperbolic, but I'm pretty sure Clement is that kind of person, but yeah, I have some memories of Clement. Back in ye olden days of ye internet. I will admit I haven't really caught up with him all that much though, so hopefully he's been doing okay. Along with just call him Johnson. One weird thing I heard about Rivals 2 was for some reason there was just this weird relationship thing going on, potentially, between Silver and Espio of all characters. Just... it really does feel as though the Chaotix are just sort of the spare parts in terms of characters. Oh, we got this new character who doesn't really have anyone who he pairs off with in this game. Ah, just throw one of the Chaotix at him. That should have worked. It's like the same thing also happens with Sonic Team Racing, where inexplicably Silver and Blaze got paired up with Vector. Okay. I was just trying to get my bearings. Actually, let me just bring up the map real quick. Used to own Sonic Rush, and then I fought Eggman Nega in school. And oh yeah, I can certainly imagine. Thankfully, that didn't happen to me. Then again, I don't really know anyone else who actually played it. Okay, so we're right over there next to another ring, so I don't think I missed a single giant ring here as of yet. Next one I believe is in here, which makes 5, and we just gotta keep going. Not sure if it's just the background, but this whole level always used to remind me a lot of Golden Axe. At least what I've seen of Golden Axe. Yeah, I can definitely see why, definitely see the confusion there. And that's, 6 giant rings. That should be the achievement unlocked if you haven't got it already. Probably not gonna be going for any more unless I miraculously get the fluffy fur one later on, but... For now, we're just gonna play through the game properly. I think I have to go... Oh. Not sure what happened there. Game. Controller. Yeah, no idea what happened there. Just, game acted up for a second there. Okay, so we still have to go this way, it seems like. It's always weird to me, because going through some of these levels, it always feels as though I come across areas which I've never been in before. Game just froze. Yeah, I have no idea what actually happened there. Game just sort of acted up and my controller disconnected. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully. Also thinking, unfortunately, you don't get access to any sort of super form. I mean, technically you have it in the options, but I figured I want to play this more pure to the Sonic 3 and Knuckles experience, so no super form for Tails so far. Which is fair considering his is the most powerful. Still think we should be going this way. Here we go, here's the boss. I always thought that this boss changed depending on which character you faced him as, with the spike platform which rises up from the middle, but I'm fairly certain that's not the case. Or, you know, could just be wrong. Just figure we're already halfway to 1,000,000. I guess failing some of those special stages kind of paid off. Yeah, it really feels like Marble Garden is just one of those levels which nobody really talks about. Because it's either the first level with the island getting set on fire, or the name debate with Hydrokite, or the barrels in Carnival Night, or the music from Ice Cap. Meanwhile, this level is just sort of here. I know it was also in the Amy and Knuckles comic special where nothing happened, but at the same time, I do kind of have to wonder, thinking about it, what exactly happened to Carnival Night Zone after Sonic 3? I mean, it's still there during Knuckles' story, yet in Sonic Adventure it's absent. I know obviously that I'm pretty sure Mike had different ideas with regards to the Sonic's world and adventure, so it's not exactly one-to-one. Which, obviously is annoying, but at the same time it just sort of feels weird now we're just trying to actively console everything together, as opposed to just... As opposed to just back then where it was a fair bit more abstract. Feels like when I put it like that, there's really a no-win scenario when it comes to the continuity in this series, which to me sort of feels like a defeatist way of going about it. Just like, there's no canon, may as well just accept it and just not ask questions and just consume whatever they put in front of our faces. Especially given what's happened with other franchises in more recent years, it's not something I really want to be championing. So these grasshopper enemies always annoyed me. I'm just thinking though, the temple vibes here do seem at least somewhat reminiscent of the more Aztecian ruins from Adventure 1, so I guess there is a little bit of bleed over. Even though I'm fairly certain this didn't really play much into their design choices with the Aztec areas of Adventure 1. Hey Sharon. Hopefully you've been having a pleasant weekend so far. Gotcha. It feels kind of weird. Of all the level gimmicks which never made a comeback, this whole thing with bits of the level rising and then you having to race to get to the end was one which feels like it should have made more of a comeback as opposed to just the Sandopolis gimmick again for Oil Ocean and Press Factory. Like, I definitely prefer to go through this at the very least. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm fairly certain this is one of the only boss fights which is actually harder as Tails. Might be wrong, because obviously there's the Casino Night boss coming up. Should Tails be yellow or orange? Yes, the eternal question of Tails' coloration. Admittedly, as a kid I was more used to Tails' coloration in Adventure DX and Heroes. It was more just sort of that yellow covered in baby. Also, Tails, where are you going? Tails! Tails! I've lost control of Tails! Let me reconnect my controller. Hope there we go. Yeah, this fight is a little bit harder as Tails because, of course, you have to aim at him. Should be yellow makes most sense. I guess I can see that with the color triangle with Sonic and Knuckles, but I'll be honest, I think I do prefer the orange. Looks a bit more natural on him. The real question, though, is what color should Tails' shoes be? Should they be red, or should they be blue to better match his natural orange color? I will admit it was always weird looking back at fan art / fan renditions of Tails with blue shoes, which actually kind of works, and then just seeing him with red shoes and like, why is that the case? I think that might have been to do in the early games how it sort of messed with the colorations on Sonic sprites, so I think that might have been it. Oh hey Val, I was wondering when you'd show up. Stuck with ah. Not sure entirely what's going on with this. Let me just have a look at the options. Some options hidden in game, visuals, display, aspect fit, windowed mode. Prefer him with red shoes. I can definitely see that, just as a, he's been that long he's had red shoes for so long. Think Sonic would be in everything is in Fortnite. It's like the black hole of franchises. It's kind of obnoxious. Heck. I'm gonna see if I can beat this boss and then try and reset the game, see if that fixes anything. Just give me a sec. I will admit that I've never exactly been the biggest fan of Fortnite, at least in the concept of just throwing all these IPs in here. Seems very Ready Player One, in my opinion, and Listening to the audiobook of Ready Player One whilst on holiday just seemed like the most cringiest thing I ever did here. Just non-stop barrage of, hey, reference, hey, you know this from this movie? You know the X-Wing from Star Wars? You know the hotel from The Shining? You know the Iron Giant? Remember? Remember? Just seems so cynical to me, in a way. I'll be honest, if Sonic makes it into Fortnite, well, I probably wouldn't be playing it anyway, so it doesn't really affect me. But given the attention to detail that's gone into the more recent Doctor Doom collaboration, or so I've heard, I'd hope at the very least it's they put a similar amount of effort into it. Red stripes on the back two quills, not talking about his back spine. Talking about his back spine on his head was. You know, that always seemed weird to me as a kid. That wasn't the case. The fact that he just had the two back spines, which were just plain black. As you can probably tell, this boss is a lot harder as Tails. We may be here a while. It is a shame as well, because as far as I'm aware, all the other bosses are the same difficulty, if not easier. Granted, he doesn't have the insta-shield. Oh yeah, I just remembered, I have the drop-down thing which is exclusive to Sonic 3. Yeah, this should actually be a lot easier. What am I thinking? I can just do this. There, you see? I've been overthinking this, thinking about this all wrong, when I could just do death from above. Yeah, this edition makes this boss fight a lot easier. What was I thinking? Just still... Yeah, I kind of feel like an idiot after that. There we go. Boss finally down. Now we finally get to move on to the infamous Carnival Night, and I can see what's going on with this game, so give me a moment. Okay, from the looks of it, it just seems to be an issue with OBS, so I'm hoping at the very least that okay, take care, Sharad. Let's just carry on for the time being and see if things hold out. Again, with all the time I wasted on Marble Garden, we should probably make ourselves pretty scarce throughout this infamous level, which I've already talked about. I gotta wonder, though, with Origins coming out, whether or not... just remembered I had the wrong tab going. There we go. Yeah, you can sort of tell I'm not exactly on my A game this stream, but hopefully we'll be able to manage, still have a whole bunch of this game. I'm gonna see if I can complete all of it tonight, so this may go on for a little bit longer than usual. And seems to be fixed, hooray! Hopefully that doesn't happen again, just, it was weird. Looking at OBS, the stream seemed to just be frozen, which, hopefully is no longer the case. Plus here I don't have to worry about actually hunting for giant rings anymore, so I can just cruise through the entire rest of the game as though I was just playing it normally. It almost feels weird, just Tails just being the sort of casual option. And yet he has, at least in the original game, some of the harder fights. But I suppose getting back to various other Sonic games that I would want to play next. I was thinking maybe one of the GBA games, or I suppose, given the time, maybe just do a bit of Mega Collection first once Klonoa and certain other games are done, and just see where we go from there. But yeah, it really does feel as though there's just, at least in the Sonic 3 portion, there's just a whole, segment of different parts which are just exclusive to Tails. Feels surprisingly thought out like that. Here again with this, yeah, stop. We already know this boss is very unfortunately designed. I just remembered I have to go through, Death Egg as well again. That's gonna be fun. Oh, you can actually jump to dictate the direction. That's kind of cool. But over here, I can't exactly do much. It just breaks away in all hopes I have of winning. Yeah, this is gonna be awkward. At least thankful that I can fly. Yeah, it's also weird that this boss fight just sounds like circus music, kind of. I don't think this has actually happened to me before on this boss. It usually just ends before all the platforms go. Thank you. At least it doesn't have that much health to it. I just realized it now is just a Tetris block. Yay! It feels with a lot of his animations in this game. He's just so endearing, and I feel there's sort of one little detail which if sort of omitted from Tails' character, the fact that he's just sleepy all the time. I'm fairly certain in this game, possibly Sonic 2, definitely Adventure 1, and possibly Adventure 2, could be mistaken, he's just, as part of his, all his idle animations, he's always just yawning all the time, which suddenly makes him one of the more relatable characters in this series, behind Vector. I'm just thinking, this probably would have been an opportunity to try out some of the, Actually, can I do that right now? There we go. Try out the prototype music, as we've already gone through this a fair few times, and, prototype. Let's go with that for now. Obviously, it won't, we'll just stick with the classic, Carnival Night music here, but That should change starting with ice caps, so unfortunately, no more hard times. We're just gonna sample the rest of the soundtrack as we go on. Watch as I attempt to push on thin air. It's actually worked. Oh, there we go. Music changed. Still sounds a lot better than in Origins, I'd say. Seriously, no idea what exactly happened there. I guess, from what I recall, they got Jun Senoi in to re-render all the tracks, but they just sound so much worse. I know the joke here is that Jun Senoi should not be put near a synthesizer, but in this game's sense where the music was already made, it just seems so baffling that it turned out so bad in Origins. I mean, personally I still prefer the original soundtrack as was in retail, but I feel as time goes on I might get a little bit more of an appreciation for these tracks as well. Though I do miss Knuckles' theme being more funky in Sonic 3. Specifically Sonic 3, not Sonic and Knuckles. I know that one is also kind of iconic, but I just love the drums. Aha! I can actually bypass level gimmicks with you. I think this barrel might have been the one which screwed so many people over, because everybody talks about the V barrel and I'm just left thinking there's loads of barrels in this level, which one? I'm sure this level takes a little bit, but as you can see, I've been going through it without much of an issue. I think one thing that messed me up more is just the sheer number of bumpers and the those things that lift you up. Like I said, where exactly did this place go after Sonic 3? Because it wasn't in the Amy and Knuckles comic, it wasn't in Sonic Adventure, it wasn't in really anything referencing the Angel Island after which, like Sonic Chronicles. But yeah, nice just skipping most of the level through those speed boosters. Nice just to set the gameplay itself for a little bit, and I gotta wonder, can I actually, nope, that doesn't work. So much for ring bonuses. Okay, it does work, kind of. Just gotta stay in the air and hopefully not get magnetized. I suppose you could argue that the, there we go. I have bested you, sir. Now be gone. Let's see how reworked Ice Cap sounds. Because I'm super used to no snowboarding for Tails, unfortunately. That's a shame. Honestly, not sure I want to say this, but playing as Tails, at least in the classic version, just feels like you're playing Sonic 1 again, just as... except you're just missing out on all the best bits. Like, obviously, you missed out on Super Sonic in Sonic 2. You missed out on the snowboarding, you missed out on the cool intro sequence, just playing for this again, except as a character who doesn't get to do most of the cool stuff and skips most of the levels. Just... it feels as though Tails deserves a little bit better. At the very least, he got his very own snowboarding section at Adventure 1, which I suppose is a little bit of a consolation, even if Sandhill wasn't exactly the pinnacle of spectacle level design. There we go. Yeah, it definitely feels as though these tracks could sort of fit into the soundtrack in a similar way that Angel Island and Hedgehog could. It feels decisively more on brand, I suppose is a way of putting it. I suppose, though, thinking more about this level, one of the main memories I have of this level was playing through it on the Sonic Classic Collection on the Nintendo DS. I just marveling at, well, this was certainly more playable, assuredly, than Sonic Genesis. The performance was still not all that great, which you'd think on a 64-bit console like the DS shouldn't really be possible. You'd think that it should be able to run these 16-bit games flawlessly, but I guess not. Then again, I don't really hear many people talking about Classic Collection. Unless it's like... unless it was specifically their very first game, which, my condolences. You could do worse, but you could certainly do better. Come on, I can reach you. There you go. Yeah, there we go. Tails making quick work of the rest of this game. I'm hoping that once we get all the Super Emeralds, we'll be able to just fly through the rest of it and hopefully have a little fun while doing it, because of course I feel I should I feel I should hold fast on talking about Tails' super form until we actually get it. For now, though, I suppose I generally quite like the design of the loops in this level, just looking like they're actually made of just glass. Just like seemingly naturally forming loops in the ice, which generally the ice effect on them just straight up looks pretty cool, for lack of a better word. And the crystals in the ceiling of this cave too, I feel just... this whole level just looks very pretty. It's one of my favorites to come back to, admittedly, just as long as you stay out of the water, which... I feel if you were going to have water which just straight up kills you when you fall into it, as per the 3D games, Ice Cap would be the one level in which that would actually make sense, because of course, hypothermia. Generally, bad stuff happens when you're submerged in ice-cold water for a long time. I know there's some people who would probably disagree, but that's, let's just say at the very least special cases. Also, I don't think I actually managed to get up here any of the other characters. Just this weird little area which just has a whole bunch of rings in it, and, of one of those. As far as I can remember, there's this set of rings here, but if you fly upward... Ah, I'm guessing that's not here in the Angel Island Revisited version. There's inexplicably just another set of rings above these rings. It just seems so much of an odd addition. Also, Already again with boss time. These levels go by quick. Hello, Robotnik, with your distinct red nose. It looks like he has a cold. This feels like cheating. Also, please give me my ring. Please give me. Thank you. Yeah, you just get on top of him and bounce on him. Just Tails makes a lot of these levels just so easy. Bosses per se, which I will admit I still generally prefer having just these bosses which are over and done with quickly compared to superstars. Just still baffled by that. Keep forgetting that there's a giant ring back here as well. Very nearly got killed there. Anyways, a nice little detail which I'm fairly certain I already talked about in Knuckles' playthrough, and the fact that the death egg just simply isn't there because it's already... Blimey, it's freezing here. Yeah, I'm sure we'll warm up real soon as we get close to the rocket fuel. I'm gonna try and go for the achievement in the next level, though I may end up failing it. This is one of those achievements where, in terms of the level, it's hard to start off with, but as it goes on, it gets much easier. Also, I'm not sure how I feel about this particular song. I liked the original one in Launch Base just for its sort of calm before the storm atmosphere. Just gave the impetus that it's all quiet around the launch pad just before it actually launches. But I guess that doesn't really apply when it's actually launching, though, does it? Just at that point, just seems kind of relaxing. How do I feel about the beta music at all? Overall, it's... Like I said, it feels more on brand with some of the other songs in the soundtrack, but I still have a lot of nostalgia for the original song, so I may have to just play with these songs on a little bit more just to get used to them. It's like they fit more, but I'd say they don't sound as good. So again, that might be personal preference, because I quite like the Michael songs, which is kind of unfortunate given everything surrounding him in terms of controversy. Which, honestly, considering a lot of other controversies which have come out since, feels kind of minor by comparison. Just Stephen Hawking, of all people. Probably shouldn't go too deep into it, but it's just, obviously I'm not educated enough to dictate whether or not Michael was guilty of the crimes for which he was charged with, but I still generally have a fondness for a lot of his music. These songs are iconic. Next, you need to have the beta tracks. Yeah, the Supersonic one is especially good. To the point where I kind of wish that there was it was referenced more in the series. You know, this particular boss doesn't seem so threatening compared to Knuckles' one where it was just two of them hunting you down. It's just like, oh, it's just a little dinky one. Feels like the sort of enemy which starts off as a boss here, but would just come back as a normal enemy in a later level. Right, time for the Fluffy Fur achievement. I suspect this is going to go poorly. But I've only managed to accomplish this once. Just gotta jump here. Okay, that's the hard part out of the way. Just for this achievement, you just gotta stay out of the water and just not touch any water, which is fine given a lot of the higher sections of this level don't have any water in them, and generally that's where you want to stay. I think with Angel Island Revisited, it made some level changes which actually makes this possible. So you have all these different routes you can go with Tails. Main thing though is just not touch any of the water pipes. Also grab rings. Yeah, it sounds weird not hearing the classic drums and whatnot, but at the same time, I could get used to this. Feels suitably funky slash bombastic. I could see this being part of an Eggman level. Yeah, I think this is the main part where level changes are made to compensate for Tails. Want to go up here. Come on. Just let me go up. I want to go up. What's going on with you, level? I want to go up. Okay, it turns out I didn't need to go up. Okay, definitely don't want to go down there. I think that qualifies as not touching the water. I think I just need to go through this pipe. Nope, that's just a ring. I think we just need to fly over here for the looks of it. Yeah, there's a platform. Okay, I think the path we need to go is up here, I believe. Come on, game, work with me. There we go. Now I have to just deal with all these weird laser gates, which again, you can just bypass as Tails. Ooh, nice. And I think at this point we don't need to worry about any more water. Could be wrong. And just break through these without any issue. Yeah, in terms of the beatage of this particular song, it does feel very much like Hydrosity Act 2, and there we go. Back to the end of the level already. With the weirdly purple-looking water. Just realized I can just do this. Get over here, you. Get over here, you. Who is the genius now? Anyway, it's time to see Knuckles somehow not get burned by rocket fuel again. You shouldn't probably be next to this thing, Knuckles. It's about to blow. I feel I should move out of the way. But yeah, it is kind of weird thinking about it. It's the fact that Sonic and Tails can easily just pilot these things. You know, thinking for an IQ of 300, these things would have some sort of security or just generally be difficult to fly. Thus, Knuckles came a toasty enchilada. Rest in pieces. Oh yeah, we still have to fight Big Arm, don't we? This is gonna be fun. still love the version of this from Project Chaos, though. Just, the guitars there just go ballistic. I should probably give that another listen sometime. Just the whole soundtrack. This is generally a lot of tracks I tend to gravitate towards a lot more, like obviously Doomsday. That version iconic? Definitely. As well as this track. Hopefully we get to hear a little bit more of it this time. Alright, I'm ready for ya. As I don't have to worry too much about the insta-shield, just gotta remember not to double tap. I always found it weird how this boss was just omitted from the Sonic 3 and Knuckles version of this level. I mean, granted all the Sonic 3 levels were made easier as well, which I feel probably shouldn't have been the case. I would have preferred if they were still the same difficulty. Oh yeah, the Generations version. That weirdly to me, that version still seems fairly underappreciated. But at the same time, just still well loved. I think it was at the start of the remastered version of Wrath of Nazo, just like showcasing, hey, look at all these comparisons to the original. It's all in one part, so you can actually hear it. I also like a lot of the creative directions they went for the this version of the boss in Generations, where it actually punches you. That version of Big Arm's shockingly good. Well, listen to this. Yeah, I got a mod which has a 16-bit rendition of this version of the song. Sounds great in my opinion. Don't mind me, man, I'm just sort of vibing. Okay, we're done. I was just thinking, we should have... Crush 40 and the Cash Cow should have a fair few, more collaborations. Because it feels like with this and the version of Sonic Boom they did, it feels like the perfect encapsulation of what Generations represents. Just this combination of all these different eras of Sonic coming together to form a cohesive whole. I kinda wish they did more of that. Also, still not sure what's going up with Tails' sprite here. It's like he shriveled up. Why must Sonic music go so hard? I don't know. It's always the proverbial meme slash curse of this series. The games may suck, but the music is always amazing, except when it isn't. Sonic Chronicles. He skipped leg day. I told you should have joined me, Tails. I don't know why I'm here. I'm supposed to be going to the Northern Crater with Cloud and Barret. Gonna beat Sephiroth. Not sure what I'm doing here on this weird looking island full of two-tailed ferrets. Must correct this. I mean, from what I recall, you have a lot on your plate already, so try not to overwork yourself. I'm still gonna miss doing that funny Scottish voice. I gotta find more ways of justifying bringing it back. Thinking I may be forced to try using it in Klonoa, seeing how that goes. You've heard British Klonoa. What about Scottish Klonoa? Wahoo! Now you're throwing ideas with Kate Sifferhund. I don't know what to tell ya. I've been having a lot of fun with that particular character. There you are, you wee blue spheres. I'm looking all over for you. Do you know where I'm going with this, to be honest? Just figured I'd put it on as another funny voice just as one more time for the road. Where I must walk 500 miles and then I must walk 500 more. Where are the rest of these spheres? I could have sworn I'd seen them around here somewhere. Feels as though I'm losing my mind. Will I be able to find them before the level goes too fast for me to continue? There we go. I gotta wonder though, how fast is the top speed? Obviously it'll be borderline unplayable, but I'm sort of curious just to see how fast this actually goes. There we go. Oi, you pal! Don't know what you're about, I belong here! I remember my father, I remember all the fish we caught! Oh, that's gonna take so much out of that scene when we get to it. That's probably an interesting question though. Which would you prefer, Scottish Klonoa or generic anime late 2000s voice acting Klonoa? Now I have to remember where all the giant rings are on this level because I didn't remember. I've been busy with all sorts of other games, so I haven't had time to completely memorize Mushroom Hell. Okay, so shouldn't it too be too difficult to find Brick Klonoa? I mean, it's more likely than you think, given the volleyball game. It's his canon. Yeah. I just love how that's sort of becoming increasingly more just accepted. Also, where am I? Who am I? What am I? Okay, we should be fine. Just wasn't sure whether I'd already missed our next big ring. Should be fine, just yeah, it should be fine just going up here. Cloud's Mindscape music plays. Who am I? What am I? Who am I? I was just thinking more in terms of that Neil Breen film. Twisted Pair, I think it was. Just, who am I? What am I? What's happening to us? It's been a long time since I've seen that though, so some details of it may be vague to me. The delivery is gold. Yeah. Clued, we gotta put anthrax in the water supply. Barrett told me it's his newest best plan to save the planet. Kids, if I don't see how that works. I mean, bombing a reactor was one thing, but poisoning people with anthrax? I don't know. Barrett seemed pretty insistent on it. Don't know where I was going with that either. Just remembered that one scene from, I forget the name of the film. Anyways, that's another Super Emerald. Said with all the emotion with a sack of potatoes. Yeah. Okay, next. Next giant ring should be fairly easy to spot. Just gotta remember to take the low road. What's sort of weird as well is that despite my Scottish accent, I live closer to Wales than everything, but I'd say my Welsh accent is a lot weaker. I don't even know if I'm actually doing it right now, right at this moment. Just felt more comfortable with Scottish for some reason. Guess I've just been growing up around a little bit more with the Scottish accent compared to the Welsh. I didn't know where I'm going with this. Cloud, why is Aerith now a skull ghost? I'm sorry. Don't think there was anything back that way, so we can just keep surging forward. I gotta say though, I was thinking of holding off on saying this until we actually finish Final Fantasy VII, but one thing I've sort of noticed is that Cloud is sort of reminiscent of Shadow in my eyes, and how in the game in which he originated, he was more of a vulnerable character, but another game sort of characterized him into just being generic edgy boy, and he's been known for that ever since. With Kingdom Hearts and Shadow's own game. Okay, just trying to remember where the next one is. Oh, I think I got all of them in this level. Well, that's a right shame. Oh no, there's one more here. Just gotta remember to take the low road. Again. Right here, I believe. Hopefully, by the time we finish this, the rest of the game will be trivialized. We'll go with this one next. Hopefully I don't botch the rest of these. Oh, it's this one. Somehow nailed that perfectly. Yeah, I don't know why I was having so many issues with this level in the past. This one seems a fair bit, more straightforward to me now. There we go, and this one should be a fair bit easier since it's more spread out. Unless I get the timing of moving from square to square wrong. That's the thing though, these levels, they all just, I'm sure as you probably noticed, it's all it's all themed around grids, where you just go along each intersection of the squares there. It's more just a matter of timing when you just turn at each intersection. Suppose I've got to respect them sticking to the checkerboard design for a lot of this, just to make it easier for you to discern, which does sort of remind me. The divisiveness between checkerboard aesthetics in this series. I mean, obviously you have this game, this game where a lot of the environments look a lot more lush and realistic compared to Sonic 1 and 2, but I can't help but wonder whether or not the checkerboards do just sort of belong as just a natural part of the Sonic world, as part of its visual language. Tails makes that boss fight seem so easy. Okay, next act. This one should be fairly simple. Start off with the free 10 rings and nucleus. What are you doing? Just pressing that switch up and down, that highly technological switch. It really just feels like one of those things you're not supposed to think about too hard, the fact that there's just that modern switch in the middle of this lush forest. Seems weird to me looking at it in hindsight, just all the stuff with cohesive world building, which has become just a massive emphasis on this franchise. Okay, this one, I hate this one. Turn the ventilation on Tails, now it's gonna be humid. Oh no. I turned the ventilation on. Yeah, generally getting all the rings in this particular special stage is one of the harder ones, I'd say. Just with how you have to time your jumps. And turns. Like, in a normal sense, this is one of the easier ones, just perfecting it is a nightmare. It's like one false move and it could all be over for me. I do find it kind of funny that, I'm grabbing the spheres in time as I go along. This must be super disorienting on stream. Okay, 2 more to go. We should be well on track to the 1,000,000-point mark. May need to resort to confiding in the dark powers of the bonus stages, but we should be good. Right. Next emerald. Should be fairly easy to find, as I can just fly most of the way. I will admit, playing Sonic and Knuckles specifically, I had a lot of memories of this level in particular. I already mentioned how I thought the season-changing gimmick was pretty cool, but the music as well. I always liked the music. Anyways, next. This one. It's weird. Compared to the last one, this one doesn't seem so bad. Just gonna focus on grabbing all the rings first. Yeah, it's kind of strange. Just the fact that, with all the various different, red and blue spheres just, segmented apart like this just feels like generally one of the easier levels, as long as you don't accidentally hit a yellow sphere. Which does sort of remind me back to blue spheres, considering I'm fairly certain, at the very least, there's a fair amount of other different spheres introduced. Like, I know the green sphere is just a blue sphere you have to hit twice. which is kind of annoying. Okay, got a little bit worried there because I got lost. I feel this is one of those levels where you could, in theory, just hit the max speed. Since you're not really running into that many red spheres. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. Where's the rest of them? Ah! Well, at least we get multiple chances. That was embarrassing. Okay, next one. I just realized you can only get, there's only 3, rings available in this level for Sonic and Tails, I believe. Knuckles gets the most, obviously, but... that's kind of painful. I will admit, that's kind of painful. Alright, let's just, keep soldiering on. Hopefully we can find another, giant ring easily enough in Flying Battery. How did I mess that one up, though? It's one of the easier ones. Okay, we do seem to be in the right spot. Get out of the way, chicken. Take 2. I got overconfident is all. I got overconfident and look what happened. I messed up. I gotta say though, I've always loved how smooth the animations are for the sprites in this in these segments, the character sprites. It really feels as though for this game they really went all out to try and make it sort of the best looking game on the Genesis. You may argue some other games managed to take that crown from it, but I gotta admire the ambition. Plus it's definitely... I'd definitely say I prefer this over the half-pipe. At the very least here it feels as though there's depth perception. No idea what's going on outside. Yeah, it sounds like something's being attacked out there, but I'm not sure what. One of the better looking Genesis games that sticks to 2D for its main attraction. The amount of Genesis games that try to do 3D and fail are countless. Oh, I can certainly imagine. As 3D was all the rage back then. Okay, there it is. Just gotta make my way over there. It's getting properly fast now. There we go. I'm still glad they brought this back for Mania. Oh no, there's one more giant ring here I can get. Just didn't look far enough on the thing. Just thinking, oh no, I'm gonna have to go to Flying Battery, but I mean, I still might. I might botch this last one. You get some serious height here. Just. I suppose thinking about the physics though, I have heard the I'm sure I've already told you this though, the prospect of Sonic possibly benefiting of moving over to Unity. But of course there's the whole Halo Infinite argument of contract workers coming in, gonna have a better idea on how to use Unity than having to be trained on the unique engine they're using, but considering Superstars was made in Unity, they already have a physics engine which they can just use. Which could potentially just bypass a lot of people's main problems with the 3D games, that being the physics. Alright, let's get a Flying Battery map. Please excuse me. As admittedly, in terms of getting all the giant rings, Flying Battery is a level which I am very much unfamiliar with. Because usually I just get all the ones in Mushroom Hill. Let's see. Surely it shouldn't be too difficult to find some rings in this level. Oh yeah, there's that one. I know that one. Hopefully that'll be the last one I ever have to get. And then I can just breeze through the rest of this, because this has been going on longer than I anticipated. Let's just consider it a supersonic stream of sorts, with everybody's favorite Fluffy Boy. Which, I call Fluffy Boy, but I'm not entirely certain what sort of name you'd give these sorts of characters, like Tails and Klonoa and such, because they seem to have fairly similar traits, known for fairly soft aspects of the character designs, with Tails' tails and Klonoa's ears. More, I suppose, empathetic, gentle personalities, I suppose is the way of putting it. Then again, it has been a fair bit since I played Klonoa, so my thoughts on that may be tested. So weird, this fight seems a lot harder as Knuckles. Okay. Just looking at the background here, this seems like the just most foresty forest that ever did forest. The sort of thing you just plug in the back of any sort of game, really, just to say foresty area. Just don't get many mushroom vibes from this background. Anyways, Flying Battery. I was gonna see if I could get the squirrels on a plane achievement here, but I don't think we're gonna be able to, because as far as I'm aware, Super Tails is kind of necessary for it. I suppose Hypersonic is also an option, considering his screen nuke. No matter though, we'll just try to carry on as best we can. Frankly, with Tails, we can just bypass this difficult platforming. I do quite like the music in this level, very, very funky. Seems like one of those levels where if there was going to be another Sonic 3 representation in Generations, I probably would have picked this one, as opposed to Mushroom Hill. Then again, I don't think many people are very averse to bottomless pits. Almost forgot about you. Probably not going to get this achievement, but it's probably worth just seeing if I can get every single one of yous regardless, because you never know. Also can finally just bypass this annoying part. Yeah, there's just immediately despawn when they're off screen, which is annoying. I think for the scrolls on a plane achievement, you only have, like, one enemy which you can avoid, which you can afford not to get, but it's fairly tight from what I recall. Look at that, though. Almost at the 1,000,000 point mark. Who would have thunk it? Also like the little detail that these things actually affected your lightning shield in Mania. Just gotta check which way I'm supposed to be going now. The answer is not this way. In with the weird looking screw bridges things, which, considering they're circular, I'm not sure they'd really make for good walkways. Also, never exactly was the biggest fan of the Sonic Free Invincibility theme. I mostly put it on because I'm using the Sonic Free theme for the main theme as well, so I figured it was appropriate, but the fact that it loops so quickly just seems, not exactly a big fan. Definitely prefer, the Invincibility theme scene in, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Advance 1. The one from Advance 2 was pretty alright too, though, I guess. Just a generally more funky version. Wait. Okay, take two. Just remember I need to close the windows at some point. Let's not bump into the bumpers like a fool this time. Generally prefer using the D-pad for this so I can be a bit more precise. It's just as the gods of Sega intended, just going through this with D-pad and the single button, just going through this with an Atari 2600 controller. Because I remember you can still do that. That still boggles my mind to this day, the fact that, you just have this one control, these two different consoles, yet the controllers are just completely compatible with one another. It's like playing an Xbox with a GameCube controller, is what I'm trying to get across. There we go, perfected that one, and finally, got the Super Emeralds. And I think, with this, we finally hit the 1,000,000 point mark. Barely missed it. Well, that's kind of funny, it's, the next giant ring is actually right next to this one, and here we go. Now Miles can become Super Miles. I, for one, am kind of alright with Super Tails being non-canon. With the prospect of, you know, he's a kid, he's not exactly strong enough to withstand the power of all the chaos energy and such, but conceptually I still think Super Tails specifically in this game is just such an endearing concept. Just after all this, he shares the power of the Super Emeralds with the animal friends he's been tasked with trying to save. Even after all the times they bullied him, he still shares the power with them in order to completely eviscerate any enemies in the game. Well, as far as I'm aware, I don't think Tails himself, aside from the obvious invincibility and speed shoes, really changes that much in performance. Like, I don't think he gets enhanced jump height. Because I swear that was a thing in Mania. Also, yeah, not really sure I really like the implementation of the super forms in Mania. I mean, I get it. You want the, getting all the emeralds to actually mean something for characters that aren't just Sonic and Knuckles, but at the same time, the super forms which were introduced in... There we go, 1,000,000 points. The super forms ever since Mania, which aren't supersonic, have just been increasingly more underwhelming. I mean, you even got Superstars, which doesn't even give you Super Knuckles, just Knuckles has superpowers now. He's not even allowed a super form anymore, which is especially hilarious considering it was mentioned in Frontiers. I know you could say a lot about just Ian's writing, like, hey, remember this, but... it just showcases more and more just how seemingly disjointed a lot of the franchise still is, where some ideas are well addressed and other times they're just not allowed to exist entirely, but so they can only exist as just little winks to the camera. Like, yeah, we know Super Knuckles exists, but we're not gonna give you him. Just enjoy Super Sonic and Super Shadow being the only super forms. Because we can't figure out what to do with Silver. I feel increasingly more has just, that they've been seriously trying to push the same sort of soft boy tag that they've been given Tails and to less than extent Klonoa, but I kind of just feel bad for Silver in all honesty, just... because even I'm not entirely certain what I'd probably do to fix him. Aside from just retconning him to be a denizen of the Soul Dimension alongside Blaze. So you can still have those two together doing stuff. Now, though, on the other hand, it's just like he only exists for... oh. Well, I'll be. I actually managed to get everything out of the gacha machine. Also, it's just hilarious just seeing all these enemies just... he's just mercilessly hunting every enemy on screen and just making them not exist anymore. It's hilarious. I feel as though leaving this game behind, this game may have spoiled me a little bit with all its quality of life stuff. Just the widescreen, the camera changing depending on how fast you're going so you can actually see what's ahead of you. It just feels as though when putting together this fan recreation update, etc. Oh, you can actually destroy that. Ah. That's news to me. Yeah, just generally feels as though, maybe it would be best if they just just retired Silver as a character and then just carried on like nothing ever happened. I mean, I'd sort of been saying this in theory with Generations. Maybe it would have been beneficial after Shadow Generations just pushed forward as though none of the games after Generations ever happens. Which, sure, we would miss out on Frontiers, but I'd personally be okay with that. I mean, considering it's technically a, not so much of a game, but more so just a public beta, for lack of a better words, I'd be fine with it just being its own thing, just like apology letter to the fans, not really canon, let's just move on sort of an ordeal. Also, I can finally give this boss his dues. Get him, fellas! You didn't see this coming, did you, Robotnik? Yeah, I think a lot of the game we can just trivialize now. I'm just gonna keep going. I probably should have started this a little bit earlier, but I'm determined now to just bring this whole thing to an end. Let's go for it. As we enter, once again, Sandopolis. I feel it's criminal, because Sandopolis, of course, is just one of those levels which I tend to revisit the least. Mostly because of not really liking Act 2. Then again, nobody likes Act 2. Act 1, though, I definitely do like, because obviously you don't have the main hazard of the ghost, and I do quite like the background here. Just the purple sky here, just looks real nice. Gives just a nice calming vibe to this locale. But though I must wonder, in terms of actually traversing this island, how long have we actually been in game? Because obviously it's only been 2 hours, but obviously for these characters, like an entire day passed between Angel Island and Carnival Night, so is this also nighttime? Then again, it's also daytime in Sky Sanctuary, so does everything past Carnival Night just take place in a single day? Is that how it goes? This isn't me of all those robots just hidden in those sand blocks. Body-wise, it sort of remind me of the robots from Unleashed. Minus the googly eyes, obviously. Come on, get up there. And even here, his it's like, even on the zip lines, his sprite gets messed up as well. I gotta say though, the music here definitely gives me more funky vibes. Just I would say I kind of wish there was more desert theme levels like this in Sonic, but then I remembered Golden Capital. Then I remembered Sand Hill from Forces. And then I got all sad. As I'm, again, one of the pundits of wanting new and refreshing level themes for the series in the next game, but just from what I hear of the from what I hear of the response is just them believing we just hate all the old level themes, when in reality we've seen enough of the same places from 2011. Please just give us something different, please. I'm fairly certain with all the returning level themes coming back for Shadow Generations, people are alright with those. We just generally want to see new places with similar art style. Or at least a cohesive art style, a cohesive narrative, a cohesive set of characters, just cohesion and direction. I was about to say, Didn't realize there was a ring up there. Can I get it, though? Come on, Tails. Tails. Aw. That's a shame. Also a shame you can't fly out of those weird sand waterfalls. Not sure how exactly those pour sideways. Also hoping we won't have too many problems actually getting the 50 rings in the next level, because I feel with all the ghosties we're gonna need them. Also never quite figured out how exactly Tails' tails stick out when he's actually rolling like that. It can sound kind of cute, but at the same time, it just generally feels as though Tails' tails themselves just don't make any sense, though at the same time, I can't exactly help but think more back in terms of theorizing whether or not Tails is actually a proper kitsune. No, he's just a young kitsune, so he only has the 2 tails. As he gets his 3rd tail, he starts to, that probably explains the flying, actually. The fact that, he's just using his kitsune magic in order to, keep himself levitating, just spinning the tails as a placebo thing. Of course, when he gets his 3rd tail is when he starts to get his illusionary magic, and by the time he gets to 9 tails, he'll probably be the only character still left alive, but basically akin to Supersonic in terms of power. At least that's how I figure it. Can finally just get rid of all these maps. I'm not going to need them anymore. Alright, into the pyramid. Yeah, needless to say, definitely wasn't a big fan of the Knuckles version of this level. Just total non-stop ghost harassment campaign. It's like you put into the level as Knuckles and you just instantly die. Whereas here, you at least get about 30 seconds, if you're lucky. I also remember I just do this as Tails. Oh hey! Didn't actually realize there was a giant ring there. And of course we get to bypass all of that, meaning... Yeah, sure, let's just go super for now. I don't need this, I can fly. I've had enough of this level, I'd just like to be done with it. Also remembering I don't have to do the puzzle segment, which I kind of wish they brought back more. I mean, I say that, but then again, Frontiers. I have a lot of things to say with regards to how I'd alter up how Frontiers plays, but I'm thinking maybe I want to dedicate something to that specifically, you know, once I actually figure out how to make a video. Probably shouldn't say that, but I'm hoping at the very least that I can start to get more into the groove of it as time goes on. Suppose you could say I've just been waiting on a few things. Not sure whether or not I actually need the super form to go through here, but I'll take it nonetheless. 3 rings. Oh yeah, and spiky thing, probably. Well, it's a hazard. Also, I keep forgetting just how claustrophobic this level is. And how fast... Well, it is kind of funny just how fast I'm going through this as Tails. The sand isn't even an issue anymore. I'm just going through this normally. Oh yeah, and I can actually just turn off the super... I mentioned this before, I think, a little bit, with how normally you're only able to super cancel with the bonus stages, which... Obviously now I can see why that's a better balancing out than what we have here. Ooh! Just swinging from thing to thing, just... I do kind of miss a lot of these level set pieces, which I don't think Frontiers necessarily has, just putting together what assets they could in the last 5 minutes and just hoping it works out. That's something I would like to see from the next game, though. Along with just any semblance of direction, I'd just like to see more distinct level gimmicks, just to make them a fair bit more memorable. Like, everybody remembers, say for instance, the Orca from Adventure 1, or the gun truck, the missile from Metal Harbor, that sort of thing. Here in Frontiers we get none of that. Also, look at that, we're basically done with Sandopolis already. Tails just generally trivializes a lot of the game, which is sort of why I was content with just doing this in one sitting. Look at that, less than 5 minutes. Okay, home stretch. I'm hoping at the very least this will also be quite short. But I also remember that I think there's a red ring here which you can only get as Tails. I think I might have actually tried getting it as Sonic with Tails before. I'll show it off again if I run across it again. Oh yeah, you can actually just see the Death Egg in the background there. Really just... it's like everything in this level is just indication of you're in the home stretch now. The end is in sight. Also here, just have lava pouring down on your head. Have fun with every single death trap in the game. It really feels like this is the level where they just pull no punches. As I'm fairly certain for pretty much all the characters to some extent, this is the end game. Obviously it goes on a little bit more with Sonic and Tails, but generally speaking, for Knuckles at the very least, this is his last zone before getting bombarded with bosses. Again, just love this background here, just with all the sinister, just lighting going on in the background, looks great. This gives you the semblance of something else is going on here, and you're not sure what. Get in here, let me get the... Yeah, this one I'm more than happy to just try and get more and more just rings just to blitz through the rest of this. Because we've seen this all before, it's just Lava Reef again. Get myself a lightning shield so we can trivialize this even further. Right, I think this is the part with the red ring you can the giant ring you can only get as Tails. There it is. Yeah, I think you could get at that as Sonic though. Then again, I'd have botched getting all the super elements with Sonic to such an insane degree. Honestly, kind of disgusted with myself in hindsight. Also love the 3D ramps here. It really feels like for this they just really went all out for the Genesis. Really respect it for that. Also kind of wish you could, I'm sure there's an option to just play normal level music over... Oh. I was just thinking I was about to get hilltops with the rising lava, but we should be fine. I just rises and lowers, like the tide. I also don't have to worry about those weird smoking enemies, because of course... I will admit though, I don't think I've actually been through this part of the level, whether or not it's just unique to Tails or not, or... Alright, I think we're back on track near the end. Again, it's the neat thing about this game, just, it feels as though with each character, just... Each level feels super different, even if, there is some crossover. Excuse me. May have run out of water a little while ago, so, gonna have to improvise. I mean, not like that. Gotta say, though, taking on, the final boss is gonna be interesting with no insta-shield. I don't think it should be too much of a problem. As that score keeps getting higher and higher. I've already said what I wanted to say about this level and my nostalgia for it, so we'll just carry right on. But again, though, I feel as though it's, must be reiterated, just, hearing this music track again, after, so much time trying to get the Super Emeralds and heading back to Hidden Palace for that. It must have seemed crazy, just hearing this music and knowing what it potentially means, that you're really getting close to the end now. The Hidden Palace is just so close you can almost taste it. Again, still not 100% down with what they did for this level in Mania, but I suppose you could say it's fun in its own right. I suppose. Please don't there we go. I was gonna say, please don't crush me. I'm also hoping that the, I also mentioned the final boss. Yeah, again, I feel as though I have to reiterate loving this particular, music track. Like, it feels like it could be used in, like, a potential montage or something, like, just a... I'd generally love to hear a Crush 40 version of this track. Let's put it that way. Just feel like though it could be used for sort of a great montage of all the Sonic characters' heroic deeds, like the Final Hazard, dealing with perfect chaos, the Death Egg, possibly Metal Overlord. Also, yeah, just really just going through this level, aren't I? It's already over. There's the Death Egg. We're there. Just gotta climb up these steps. And then I can go to bed. Knuckles. I almost forgot about you. Yeah, it seems super weird that Knuckles was practically absent throughout all the game. The last time we saw him was Mushroom Hill. I would have thought we would have seen him in Sandopolis, but no, he's... The last time he pulls a prank on us is here, just right in front of his doorstep. It's the same with Ice Cap as well, just, Knuckles wasn't really an Ice Cap as well. I kind of wish that, for this game, I kind of wish for this game Knuckles harassed you more throughout the game. Like, in every level. Whereas here, it's just he appears in only a certain amount of levels, also definitely not going to get enough rings to go super in the slightest, so we're just gonna have to do this normally. But then again, I can fly. This should be fine. In your own time. Yeah, again, it's another one of those bosses where it's like, this should be super difficult for Sonic, but Tails, he can just fly. It's just sort of a wonder why Eggman doesn't view Tails as the bigger threat, considering he can just bypass most of his traps. Also, I keep forgetting that in the vanilla version of this game, this boss took 14 hits. Which, I get this is supposed to be one of the sort of endgame bosses, but it still feels pretty excessive. As opposed to just a, the 8, which I've chosen as an option here. Anyway, it's time to go to Hidden Palace. And I can finally use a super form on Knuckles. This should be fun. You know, assuming I can actually get enough rings to do it. Also, with regards to this level, I know it's sort of a mini thing, but I'm fairly certain there's a bonus area here around here somewhere which has all the items in it. Hold on, let me see if I can actually bring up a map. I kind of want to go through with it. Hold up. Because I'm not entirely certain whether you can make it as Tails. I know you can make it with debug mode. We go Act 1 map. Okay, it's right next to... Spikes. It's right next to the teleporter. So just gotta fly all the way up here and hopefully I can refund my rings. If not, we can just restart and do it all over again. I'm just gonna restart. I want my rings! Let's find it funny there's just springs here. For seemingly no reason. I guess it's helps by just speeding through this area, just... I'm guessing the stairs kind of made it annoying to traverse. There we go, barely made it. And over here, one of each item box. Nice little bonus. And over here, a whole bunch more rings, so immediately we get to 50 without needing to do any of the bonus stages. So we can just fast forward here. It's Doomsday for Knuckles. Hello, Knuckles. I'm afraid I'm not the hero of prophecy, but have some birds. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Feels like those too obvious a joke to make. Anyways, there you go, Knuckles. Let's do this again. Oh no, who could possibly have seen this coming? Kind of weird they didn't opt to steal the Super Emeralds as well. I get that there probably should have been... That would have been more work to just have dedicated, like, cutscenes for having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Super Emeralds, but it feels weird that he just keeps them there. And then again, I guess given the size of the Super Emeralds, I can understand the Hyper Form being confined to Angel Island. I've realized there's a lot of islands in this series. You got South Island, you got West Side Island, Angel Island, Carnival Island, North Star Island, Christmas Island, Starfall Islands. Just... This world has more islands than land masses. It's just one big archipelago. Okay. Also, in the Sonic Frontier, I already mentioned this. I thought it was just super weird, just seeing Sky Sanctuary. alongside Adventure 1 Emerald Shrine in Frontier's Resurgence. Just, you look at Sky Sanctuary and it's just floating ruins in the sky. It's sort of like all the platforms and grind rails in Frontiers. Feels very on brand. Also, I feel as though I need to find another checkpoint. I was hoping to just blitz through this with Hyper Tails, but... not Hyper Tails, Super Tails, but... it feels like these egg robos have, since Superstars, just become the bane of my existence. Anyway, let's fight the Sonic 1 boss again. Obviously, in the vanilla game, this was just the standard Sonic 3 boss theme. I like that they actually, decided to add this as an option. Though again, this is sort of before all the nostalgia pandering. I remember that they also did the Sonic 1 and 2 first bosses in Advance 1 before the Eggman's weird roulette robot as the final boss, which just alternated between hand, bomb, and laser. Again, it's been a long time since I played Advance, and again, I never got any of the Chaos Emeralds because depth perception. Or the lack thereof in the Advance games. I feel there's generally just been a running thing with the 2D Sonic special stages, the depth perception. Obviously, not until Mania was that fixed. Just not gonna bother with the achievement here. Yeah, you get an achievement for not bursting any of the balloons there. It's easier to do with Hypersonic. Also, I gotta hope I can actually get to a bonus stage before this is over. I'd very much like my Super Tails back, please. I've grown to like it. I have been thinking, in terms of Sonic stuff, I do definitely want to do more Tails-oriented stuff, because he was always my favorite character as a kid. You know, before the dark times of Lost World and... well, so much for bonus stage. You know, before the dark times of Lost World and Forces. I know that his character was supposedly redeemed in Frontiers, but then again they went back on it immediately with Final Horizon. So I'm not entirely one to say that Tails has been strictly redeemed as a character until, well, like most things, we have to wait and see till the next game, which... honestly, well, I do appreciate what Frontiers tried to do. The fact that a lot of what we have to say on it is just banking on just playing whatever comes out afterwards. I kind of hate it for that. The fact that it's just... you can't even form a proper opinion on it until the next game comes out. Just feels so... annoying. It really does remind me of The Force Awakens, with how it left open all these plot points, which basically made it like this incomplete film, and you had to wait and see until the next movie in order for it to make sense, except, of course, most of those plot points got thrown in the trash. And retroactively, Force Awakens just became a bad film. I've heard rumors about them potentially, finally rewriting the sequels out of Star Wars canon, but at this point, I feel as though, Star Wars canon needs even more, like, purging of it than even the Sonic canon does, because what Disney has done with that is just bewildering at this point. It just feels like most of it was just been made, decisions-wise, out of spite. And I suppose it's also fitting that I am talking about Star Wars in the Star Wars level. Welcome back to the Death Egg. We're just gonna keep on going as long as we can until this is over. I can almost taste it as Eggman steals all my rings. I suppose you could say it's fitting, really, with Tails being previously one of my favorite characters. Oh. He deservingly gets the longest stream of Sonic Free dedicated to him. It's kind of poetic in a way. But yeah, fairly certain you just need a lightning shield to bypass a lot of his traps. That really does look like just the main reactor from Return of the Jedi back there. It almost gives me the sense that the Death Egg is hollow. There's just a wall of egg-shaped stuff, and then there's just the thing in the middle. At least that's the indication I feel when comparing this to again, the Death Star. That's also another thing I kind of miss about this series, just how how it just used to haplessly pull from pop culture like it used to do. I mean, obviously there's the Super Saiyan, you got Angel Island, which is basically Laputa, you have the Death Star here. You have Silver, who is basically just Trunks. Okay, now I figured out how this works. And finally, give it to me. I can just run across this without any issues. As finally the real game can begin. Never mind. Just gonna switch this off so we don't waste any rings in this particular segment, because this one still can go on a fair bit. It's like I'm going through this and thinking there's just so much stuff that the series used to do and now just doesn't. I mean, obviously you could say that they can't quite get away with it now compared to when they used to do it, but considering that even in IDW they're making all these different sorts of references, like I'm fairly certain at one point they did the JoJo Dio You Dare Approach Me meme at one point. Like, pop culture has such an immense impact on this series to the point where I suppose I can't exactly be mad at all the pop culture references in the movies, just generally kind of wish that again, they got rid of some of the more obnoxious stuff, like obviously all the pop music you've heard a million times on the radio. I'm gonna keep harping on about this. Apparently everybody's favorite Sonic track throughout the whole of this long series is Uptown Funk by Bruno Mars. I'm not gonna let that go. That scene was... When I saw that in the theater, I thought that this is just the worst thing. Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy and just say the Siberian Inn scene was worse than the wedding subplot. Because at least there, the wedding stuff was so absurd and off the wall that you couldn't help but find it funny. At least that's how it was in my case. Dun, 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 dun. I've got cake and ice cream. Yeah, yeah. Also quite like the music track to Death Egg as well. Which, it's sort of a shame that they didn't bring it back in any capacity in Forces. This is such a banger track as well, just with so much bass around it. It's just so much fun to listen to. I can only blame myself for that one. Let's go again. Thankfully, we weren't too far off. And I made it through without taking any damage that time. Not sure if I'm going to have enough rings to deal with the boss here, which is funny, because from what I recall in the original version, Super Tails kind of glitched out the boss of this level, at least the first one. So you couldn't damage him properly as far as I'm aware. I think it was something to do with how the Flickies interacted with the enemies that you had to gravitate up into the enemy's face. Here we go. Let me in. Okay, hoping for the jackpot. You know, playing this whole casino thing again, just kind of find it odd just how seemingly obsessed a lot of these Japanese games were with slot machines. I mean, obviously you have this, along with all the casino nights and such. Enemy glitching out a little bit there. You have this, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say we're at the boss already, but not really. Yeah, you have this, you have the casino nights, Casinopolis, basically all the casino levels. You have the game corners in Pokemon, which had all slot machines until 2010 when they got replaced with Minesweeper. You have Kate Sith's Limit Break, which is just a slot machine with different outcomes, such as being able to one-shot most enemies in the game. And then, most notably, you have Dragon Quest, which, even as far as its most recent entry in 11, has a casino with slot machines in it. I always found that kind of weird. Just the obsession with slot machines. Just, of course, you don't really think of it as much as a kid. Just think it's just a annoying thing that you have to go through in order to get your TMs and such, or all the goodie items, but let's see if I can get some. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get some more rings here. With the boss ahead. Inundating me with a lot of rings, it seems. Also thinking this is probably the last of the bonus stages, and of course it's the Electrosphere one. I still can't remember the name of all the bonus levels. I just call them the Gotcha one, the Plasma Wall one, and the Casino one. Just, I'm sure I'll remember their names eventually, but it probably won't be tonight. Probably not going to need so many rings, but I'll take them anyway. Yeah, 200 rings! Boss time. Yeah, I'm just gonna use these. Yeah, I think, from what I recall, the Flickies just targeted all the, little smaller robots you have to pin into the boss right now. So you couldn't really do much against him. Now, however, I can just, casually walk back and forth between these gravity tubes and just watch him just powerless to stop me damaging himself. I suppose I'm thinking about it as well. One thing that I just remembered. One thing which I think got me into Digimon Tamers back in the day was how Renemon's design seemingly looked a lot like Tails', considering both foxes and whatnot. It's kind of weird that I never really saw much else with regards to Digimon Tamers as I grew older. It's just this thing that sort of just faded out of my memory. Also, I just realized I have my super form here. And 150 rings. Let's go for it. You have nothing to hurt me, Eggman! You have nothing to hurt me with! Of course, unfortunately, we don't get to hear the rest of this big arm version of the track, but I'm not too concerned about that. Just gotta be sure not to bounce directly into the pit of doom. Alright, let's do our die time. Let's go. There. There. Just gotta remember to hit him at the right angle so you don't just bounce off to your death. I mean, granted, Tails can fly, so it's not that big of a... There we go. And we got the Master Emerald back. And look at that. Tails was so powerful, he didn't even need to chase Eggman down to get the Master Emerald. He's the true hero of the story. And of course, Sonic's here just to, I suppose, supply Tails this victory lap. I'm pretty sure he could have just flown the, the Emerald back. Though, of course, in this sense, now let's not fast forward this. Just... It's so weird seeing the positions swapped. Just... Seeing that Tails now... where Sonic usually stands. I generally thought that was kind of... I think that was also the case in Advance, where, for the ending, for anyone who isn't Sonic, Sonic is piloting the tornado, which I guess makes sense given it's his plane, it just doesn't feel right. Sonic doesn't seem like the sort who would know how to fly a plane. You know, I would have thought he likes running better. I mean, there's not even any food or movies on this plane. Now, I think... Obviously, we're just gonna fast forward for all this, just seeing the funny dolphins just pinwheeling as the birds just desperately try to keep up with his plane going at, like, Mach 1 with his rocket engines. How much fuel must those things take? Also, I just realized it's basically just between the wheel arches, meaning that it's probably struggling to actually land with that thing on. Anyways, we're done with that, or are we? I figure since we're this is going to be the last of the streams, we may as well go out on a little bit of a bang. Let's do Doomsday again. Let's go, Tails. Free for free. Yeah, again, just like with Knuckles in the original game, if you tried this, I'm fairly certain you could do it, but your sprite would be bugged out. Also, with debug mode, you could also fight Mecha Sonic as Knuckles' final boss as either Sonic or Tails, but I don't think we're going to do that. This has gone on long enough. I'll just wrap it up with this and we can finally go to bed. Well, I say that more so just hunt down the moth which I know has flown into this room. I know you're here. not sure if this music strictly fits anymore with just how intense it is, but it still just brings back so many memories. Mostly of Mecha Sonic. I still find it hilarious that they actually referenced Mecha Sonic's most iconic line from fan content in Scrapnik Island. It's like, for Mecha Sonic alone, and the fact that obviously Scrapnik Island is its own standalone thing, I ended up getting a physical copy of Scrapnik Island, and I gotta say, the art looks even better in person. It's borderline unbelievable. Obviously, one of the few stories in IDW Sonic that actually feels as though it has a point. I feel that's generally a recurring thing with a lot of more recent Sonic games, is that it generally feels as though they mostly exist just for the sake of having content, because this series continues to make money for seemingly no reason. Kind of bizarre like that, so I just figured, we may as well just put out more content. Also, am I about to die? Rings. Yeah. So I'm just gonna have to go through all that again. I was thinking we're gonna do it flawlessly free for free, but I guess not. Still though, the guitar here just is unbelievable. I'm kind of surprised this soundtrack hasn't gotten more recognition in the music department, considering just how iconic it was back in the day, because it really feels as though a lot of the fans from when I was growing up are starting to actually take over the series a little bit and just bring in a lot of stuff from those days, which obviously I gotta wonder in that case whether or not the inclusion of something like Dark Sonic is inevitable, but honestly I'm not sure how to feel. Because on one hand it is definitely cool to finally see all this stuff that I grew up with on this series finally being introduced officially, but at the same time, as I mentioned before, there doesn't really seem to be a point to it all. There's nothing that they really want to say with it aside from just, look how cool this stuff is, which, again, are just the equivalent of banging action figures together, I suppose. But sure, banging action figures together is fun, but this series used to be more than that. You used to want to at least say something, like, not becoming a slave to your past and never giving up and believing in your dreams, you know. Obviously, standard sort of anime-ish optimism, but I feel especially in a world like ours, it's needed now more than ever. There we go. And this time, of course, we lose the emerald. I'm just gonna fast forward for this. I think, though, obviously, Knuckles is gonna be disappointed. I think, however, that's where I'm gonna leave it. Next time, we finally get started on Klonoa. Hopefully, that'll be a interesting turn of events, but until then, take care. Bye-bye.